Because there were such small seeds, we such a lot of time until the weeds are, nothing else. Because there were such small seeds, we such a lot of time until the weeds are, nothing else.
Hello. Today we're making cream puff pumpkins and we're going to make some Gougeres. You'll hear me pronounce that in a variety of ways today because I don't know how to speak proper French pastry. So, so we're just going to make some puff pastry today, which is a pretty quick process. Probably should take about, 15, 20 minutes to get it together, and then we will bake that for another 20 or so, and then 25, 30 minutes. And while we're doing that, we're gonna make some whipped butter. So we're making our own butter to go along with the Gougeres. Those are gonna be filled with like a whipped goat cheese butter, with some green onions in there too, and maybe a little bit of garlic. So, hello Dan Doesn't Stream, good morning, welcome. I think I've got everything set up right. Looks like we're doing good. We got our overhead cams going. We got our straight on cams and starting the morning off right. All right. So first things first, we're gonna get a little bit of coffee. Hello, Mayor Sheriff. Glad to have you this morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to see you. Let's see. So, Mayor, I was just saying we're making some cream puffs and some Gougeres, which are basically just like savory cream puffs. And let's see, try to get myself centered here. Yeah, we're just gonna go right into it. We got a new apron. So, new apron, new me, new image. It's Baker Dave. Previously Dave Smith, 1095. Okay. So these are a relatively easy thing to make. If you look back at the eclairs episode, you're going to see me do pretty much the same thing. So one option I have here, I think, is to leave the sugar out of one of these. Oh, yeah, looks like we've got an alert here. Oh, thanks for hosting, First Person Duders. Thank you very much, Mayor Sheriff. Very much appreciate that. I hope you got a chance to see the new intro. I've been working on a few new things. I don't know if it's actually working or not, because I'm new to the whole chat bot, this and that. But let's see. Let's see if any of these commands work. Let's try fire. Get anything on that? Oh darn. Okay, so the panels don't work yet. The sound effects are a little bit off, but that's okay. All right, so this should be enough for 2 dozen cream puffs, and I think I'm just gonna go right ahead. I'll probably half the Gougere recipe, but we'll go ahead and start with these. I'm going to cut the butter up just a little bit so that it's a little easier to get into the pan. So the first step here is essentially we're just going to get this butter. We're going to use 1 stick of butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and a cup of flour and 4 eggs. That's all that's in these. So first we're going to get our 1 stick of butter in there, as you can see on your overhead cam. And then, let's see, butter and the sugar if you're using it, salt, and 1 cup of water. So we get 1 cup of water in here as well. These are real sound effects you're hearing. Okay, there's your 1 cup of water. The sugar, which we are using, put that in. So that's 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Bam! Trademark. Oh, okay. Okay, right on. Well, thanks, Mayor Sheriff. Yeah, I don't, I'll have to talk to you about commands later because I'm still working on that. I got a bunch of them kind of queued up yesterday, but I don't know if I can, if it's working or not today. And that's no big deal if not. That's just the new hotness. Okay, so we've got everything in our saucepan. We're gonna combine these over high heat, and we're gonna get the right fire going. There we go. So I got it on high heat. Let's see, we're gonna stir constantly, and then we're gonna bring the heat down to low. And we're gonna add all that flour in at one time, and we're just gonna keep stirring with that wooden spoon until everything sort of comes together. Then just to make it a little bit easier on ourselves, we're gonna go ahead and do the eggs one at a time in the KitchenAid instead of doing that. Let's move this guy just a little bit. Please forgive the camera adjustment here. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so double check that this is, okay, that's plugged in, good to go. Got our butter, water, and sugar all going over high heat here. I believe we wait until this gets to a boil, and then we're gonna go ahead and add that flour all at once. Let's see here. Yep, high heat, bring to a boil. Then you toss all your flour in at once. You're gonna see me really stirring away there in the overhead cam. And then we'll remove it from heat, let it cool down for a minute. Then we'll add those eggs one at a time in the mixer here. I guess I will add just a little bit more into the cam. There we go. All right, so we're heating up over here. You all just wait until season 2. I'll have a camera person following me around, have my own crew. No more booms in the shot. All right, let's see. And we're gonna do another pastry cream for these, but we're gonna do something like a creme diplomat, which is like pastry cream with whipped cream folded in, so it's lighter. And I'm hoping that once this dough is done, I can add just a spot of orange food coloring so we can make these cute little baked pumpkins that'll puff up. And then, in the style of the famous Great British Bake Off baker Kim Joy, who has a new book called Baking with Kim Joy right now, which is definitely on my list. We're going to do some cute little decorations on those pumpkins too. It should be pretty good. I've got some parchment paper and some sheet pans waiting right now. We'll get to those just a little bit before this goes into the oven. As you see, we're waiting for our, let's see here, I always point the wrong way. Okay, we're waiting for our butter, water, sugar, and salt to come to a boil on this high heat. It's a stick of butter, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1 whole cup of flour is going to go in there, and there's 1 cup of water in there now. Okay, so we're up to a boil. This is the moment of truth here, so you're going to see me dump this whole thing of flour in all at once and just stir it on down. Turn it down to low heat. And you just keep stirring, and this will come together into a ball. See, it's already thickening up, coming away from the sides of the pan. Take that off so I'm not rattling around so much. Looking pretty good. You're going to want to do this for probably about 30 seconds. You're going to feel some pretty good resistance coming from the flour now that it's in the mix. Last time I made the eclairs, I said it's almost like a very thick mashed potato. It's like when you're making mashed potatoes and you realize you definitely should have added like another cup of cream. That's about where you're at with it. Okay, now I'm going to turn the heat up just a smidgen. Get this going just about 10 more seconds. Reporting for Reaper Education. Hey, Sergeant Powerglove, what's going on? Good morning. And by the time all this is done, we're going to have so many retro gamers that know how to bake fine French pastry. Okay, so you see, it comes away from the edge of the pan. Kind of light, puffy. But, yeah, as you can imagine, this stuff is, you're going to take it off the heat, but as you can imagine, this stuff you're going to want to be able to pipe it later. So it's a good texture right now. Not super thin. We're going to go for that same sort of thing with our Gougeres later. And I'm at about, let's see, I'm at about 35 followers at this point, so I'm almost to the point where I can start having, you know, Baker Dave emoticons, emojis, whatever, and mustaches and all that fun stuff, you know. Okay, so the next step here, we're going to get that into our KitchenAid in just a moment once it's cooled down for a minute. We're going to add the eggs one at a time, and then we're going to go ahead and get that into, see, I'll preheat our oven right now and see how hot does that oven need to be. Creampuffs, 400 degrees. Okay, we're going to go ahead and line our two sheet pans with parchment paper. I have been a huge advocate for this book ever since I got it for my, I think it was for Christmas from my sister last year, but the How to Bake by Mark Bittman has been, How to Bake Everything, has been a huge help. It's been a lot of fun to work with, and that's what we're using for today's recipe too. Okay, so got our green onions, these are for later. That's what we're going to do when we make our own butter. That's something I've never done before, and that's going to be a lot of fun, probably a little bit challenging. I'm getting word from my official taste tester that that was for my birthday that I got that book, not for Christmas. So thank you to all the members of the studio. Top secret. Etc. etc. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down in size a little bit. Alright. One part down. Get the other one going. We got our second pan line there. We got our oven preheated to 400 degrees. Let's see, let's get that just right. Okay, we're going to set these off to the side again. So like I said, we're making our own butter today, and it's going to be a goat cheese chive butter. I might add a little bit of garlic in there. This is, so basically you let your cream sit at room temperature. I've let mine go for a couple of hours, but you know, all this stuff is pasteurized, so that's fine. You're going to whip it the same way you would make whipped cream, with the difference being that after you keep whipping this, you put it through a sieve with either cheesecloth or paper towels, and you actually get your own buttermilk out of it as well. So that'll come in handy. You know, we can use that for something in the future too. But we'll put that buttermilk into a jar, some kind of airtight container, and then we'll kind of squeeze out the moisture from that butter, and then we're going to mix in our goat cheese and chives. Probably just going to fold that in with a rubber spatula. But I think our choux pastry is probably cooled long enough. It's been sitting over here. So we're going to take this over to the mixer. Plop this in there. There we go. It's just like a very soft dough. It's almost like cookie dough that's come to room temperature. Let's get you a good overhead view of these here. All right. So one at a time, and I've said this before, but I like to crack my eggs into their own separate container before I go into the final mix. That's mostly because of just random goofs in the past. You get a little eggshell in the mix on accident. So these are all things you want to avoid when you're going live. So I'll get 2 in this one here. These are just the little dishes that I like to use for getting everything prepared pre-bake here. So I use a couple of those, get 2 eggs in each. And similarly to when you're making a cookie dough or anything like that, you're not going to want to toss them in all at one time. You're going to do them one at a time. And I believe, let's double check our cookbook here. And I believe these are just going to go in kind of at a, let's see, these go in vigorously. Okay, so beat it vigorously here. Ready? Take a sip of coffee. Okay, here we go. There's 1 egg. Let's get that a little more vigorous. There's 2 eggs. Kind of got like a scrambled egg look right now. It's coming together. 3 eggs. Starting to have that nice, smooth look. Here's our 4th egg. And that's beautiful. Okay, so once you see it get to that point where it's kind of making that ribbony, you know, just kind of falls off the paddle, that's exactly where you want it. I'm gonna get my spatula to get that off there. So we've got our oven preheating to 400 degrees right now. By the way, I think next week I'm finally going to do, you know, I've been doing little tiny pastries or, you know, bagels and kind of fun, off-the-wall random things that I haven't really done much of in the past. But next week I'd really like to do some kind of cake. Vigorously. Okay, so we're going to rinse this stuff off real quick. And you may wonder why I'm off screen when a lot of this stuff happens. Like, obviously, the sink isn't in the shot or anything like that, but it's also because the direction I've decided to shoot all this stuff is with the sunlight from the backyard coming in. We may do some changes in the future. I've kind of considered a couple ways to redesign the kitchen here. We've got a small kitchen, but it's really nice because it gets a lot of nice sunlight. Oh, what kind of cake? I don't know. Dr. Bub Pepper, nice to see you. I was considering doing, there's a local bakery here. We were just talking about this the other day. There's a local bakery here that makes a cake that my fiance's mom always gets, or likes to get ahead of time. It's called like an almond crunch cake or something, and it's got like almond cream in the middle. It's a white cake. It's got I think it's a buttercream frosting, but it might even be like almond flavored. And it's got like toasted almonds on the outside. It's super good. Blind bake through. It is a blind bake through. Yeah, first time bake through. They should have those custom tags on here. I don't see why they don't. Probably because it's not a primarily baking stream system, but still. I was watching someone the other day. I think her name was Eat Coder. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm really hoping it turns out good. I don't know. I also thought about doing that Princess Tarta. Forgive me for mispronouncing it, but like a Swedish cake that looks almost like the, oh gosh, what do you call those? It looks almost like a baked Alaska. Yeah, I'm more of a variety baker. Oh, that's true. Yeah, blind baking's with the beans. Blind bake through is just me baking dry beans and getting crusts ready all day. Which I guess you will see some of that. Not today, but... Alright, so right now I'm just getting the piping bag ready. We're going to pipe these into about 1-inch rounds. I'm just using a standard kind of round tip here. And similar to a trick you've seen me do before, let's see if I have the right cup for it. I do. So, this has failed me before, but I like to try to get the piping bag in a cup and wrap the edges around the cup so that I can pour whatever I'm piping into it and keep the bag stable. So let's get this. Got a rubber spatula. Now this is probably my third time making choux pastry. So it's not something I'm a pro at yet, but it is something that I'm gaining a little bit of confidence with. And I'm hoping that this turns out okay. We will see. Forgive the bowl taking up the whole shot right now. Let's see here. Okay, we got most of it. Tilt the bag up a little bit, see if I can get the rest of it in there. You know what? That's about as full as I want it anyway. I'll leave it for now. When I need a refill, I'll just refill it in that cup again. Okay, so we've got our oven preheated. Oh, and you know what? I was gonna do pumpkins and make this kind of orange, but I felt weird about using the food dye in it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do cream puffs, and I'll see how they look. No, I'm not gonna take any last minute chances. Those don't usually turn out very well. Okay. So we're gonna do these in 1-inch rounds. Pipe them on a baking sheet about 2 inches apart from each other. This parchment paper is the fancy kind. It's got little lines on it everywhere, so you know. So you've got some good measuring you can do, eyeballing you can do that's pretty precise. Get that in the shot there a little bit more. Okay. Throw it into blender. YOLO. Yobo, you only bake once. It would be tasty to have a real pumpkin in there, though, and to do some pumpkin puree. Okay, this is what we're gonna try. I think this is Now, we did this with the eclairs too. We're gonna go back in a little bit, and we're gonna touch the very top of these to flatten them out a little bit, because I don't want the tops of these to look like Hershey's Kisses. Not that it would taste any different if they did. This turned out to be a pretty good consistency. I think I was using the mashed potatoes analogy earlier. These really are. These do kind of come out like a nice creamed potato, but they will taste much different than that. Okay, so we're getting all these set up here. We got our first tray. It looks like we're probably gonna get maybe, let's see, this recipe was for 2 dozen, and we've got what, 5 by 3, so we got 15. I don't know if we'll get another, we'll probably get another 9 out of this, so yeah, 24, 2 dozen. There you have it. Baking math. Okay, so I'm just getting this, baking is life. I bake, I sleep, I bake again. Yeah, Dan doesn't stream. It's nice to see you in the chat room. You know, it's nice to see a few new people in here today. Dr. Mud Pepper, thanks for stopping by, and Mayor Sheriff, always nice to see you, and Sergeant Power Glove. Hurrytron usually ends up coming by. I'm wondering if I'll see them, but yeah, Dan doesn't stream. I haven't watched much of your streaming yet. Do you ever do any baking, or is that just something you like to do casually? Do you do like retro game streaming or something? I think Dr. Mud Pepper, I saw that you did some gaming. Okay. Maybe this will be enough for 9. We'll see. Okay, this is actually the larger pan of the two I'm using right now. But we're going to do the same thing, just get 1-inch rounds. The goal is not to have those peaks on each one, but it's not a big deal. You just go back, dip your finger in a little bit of water, and go back and flatten those points out. Okay. Now the Gougeres we're going to get ready while these are cooking, and that's something I've never made before. I've actually never made cream puffs, but I've made eclairs, so I just like to pretend that I've done it, that I've made those before. Now, if this were a Great British Bake Off challenge, mine probably would not all be perfectly uniform in size, but that's not the end of the world. Let's see. Oh, okay. Normal mixes, overkill for me to have a mixer. Do variety stuff, Overwatch, and Hades. Oh, I hear Hades is a lot of fun. I have a friend who's been playing that. He's been telling me to give it a try. I've been wanting to try that Phasmagoria game. I think First Person Duders did like a Duder Thursdays with that, and that looked like a lot of fun. Let's see. I'm gonna get a little bit of water here. Go ahead and dab these. Tap these little tips down here. You see, and it's just that cheesy. Yeah, Dr. Mud Pepper, I just started pretty recently too. And actually that was because of the First Person Duders and Mayor Sheriff's influence. They are a nice group of people that do retro gaming and you know, real life no-co buddies, and some people that I just am meeting for the first time. It's, you know, it's a nice group that's into something that I didn't know anything about. And it just kind of, you know, nice to drop in and talk to them, get to know some new folks. But, see, I'm just going through, getting the spiky bits off of these. You know, even if they're not colored like pumpkins, these always end up looking super cute. I know they're going to be like golden brown anyway, so I think instinctively wanted to stay away from the food coloring, because that's not something unless I'm making like an icing or something like that, I don't necessarily like to make a big old dough with food coloring in it. Maybe the exception here or there. No hating on it or anything like that, you know. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Yeah, the no-co life. I had a lot of fun doing the stream where I did some bread and then played Donkey Kong. I think the next time I do like a yeast baking stream, I think that'll be the theme. Like anything that requires yeast or any rise time, I'm probably going to play some video games. And I cannot wait to beat Donkey Kong Country 2. I got really close and then I forgot to save it. Okay, so these are going to go in at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pop them in there. Let's see. So I like to get kind of ready, get everything set. If I have multiple trays, get everything set over here. So I can just go in. 1, 2, close that oven. Okay, we're going to set our timer for 25 minutes. Okay. So I think we're going to switch gears, make some pastry cream really quick. We're going to do vanilla pastry cream, and then we're going to make some whipped cream and fold that in. Yeah, I hear you, Dan doesn't stream. I like that too. I like to have it on like during homework or something, do some lurking on a couple different channels. I can only do so much because sometimes it's kind of distracting, but you know, it's nice, especially like the ones you're nostalgic about. It's cool to go back and see people play those. Okay, vanilla pastry cream. We're having a flashback here, but I promise we're going to get better at this every time we do it. Okay, so we're going to need sugar, cornstarch, salt, egg yolks, cream, softened butter. I've got some of that. Vanilla extract. Well, I've got some of all of it, so let's get our stuff together here. Here's the sugar. We need a little more of that. should take probably about 10 to 15 minutes to get together. So I'm hoping to get this all together by the time I'm done baking the other ones. We can have this done, have the Gougeres dough ready, and then have it go in the oven. Let's see. There's our sugar. We got cornstarch. Got some salt. Cornstarch. Softened butter. Let's get that bowl out of the way. Get this piping stuff out of the way. We probably don't need that anymore. Get the salt. Where is that salt? Oh. Salt, egg yolks. Okay. And then get our cream. Let me double check I don't need this for, no, I won't need that for the butter or anything. Just got some heavy whipping cream here. We need 2 cups, and this is a pint, which is 2 cups. This is very hard to open. Just feats of strength already. Time is it only 11:30? 10:30? There we go. We got it. Oh my gosh, and this is like level 2. So, I don't think I've finished my story about Eat Codes, but I do want to mention that she is a really entertaining person to watch. She's got a really nice channel set up. And last time I saw she was making a treacle tart and butterbeer, and it was really, really cool to watch. So, highly recommend her. Let's see. I'll go ahead and see if I can give her a shout out. Not to mention, let's go ahead and give a couple shout outs here to Sergeant Power Glove. I don't think those are working. Let's see if my little bot guy can do it. No. Oh well, we'll get back to the bacon for now, and we'll get to those shout outs in a little bit here. Okay, we got 20 minutes left on the Creampuffs that are cooking in the oven right now, so let's go ahead and get this together. We're gonna see, what's our saucepan looking like? We're gonna wash that out real quick here. Got our handy dandy dish station off to the side here, ready to do any amount of dishes in a finite amount of time. Alright, so we got our saucepan here. We're going to combine the sugar, cornstarch, and salt in the saucepan first. And this should make how much? Let's see, about 2.5 cups. That's fine for now. Do 2/3 of a cup of sugar. We're getting crowded over here. We're going to have to clear this out in just a minute. Okay, so 2/3 cup sugar. Quarter cup of cornstarch. That's a pretty good amount of cornstarch. If your quarter cup doesn't fit in there, just a word to the wise, you can use 4 tablespoons too. That'll work. So the cornstarch here is essentially going to act as the thickening agent, the same as it does in a lot of different dishes. I don't know if you ever made any kind of sauces or anything like that for dinner, but a lot of sauces use cornstarch to kind of thicken it up, and has the benefit where it's not like flour where you have to cook out a certain flavor in it. It's relatively, you know, it doesn't influence the flavor that much. So, okay, so we're gonna combine the sugar, cornstarch, salt. So we're gonna do a pinch of salt. Just do just the very palm of my hand, 1/8 teaspoon. I might have done just a smidgen too much. That's okay. Combine that, and then we're going to whisk our egg and sugar mixture, or our egg yolks and cream, I'm sorry, separately before we add those in. Getting a bowl here. I'm very excited, by the way. I'm really improving my audio game, and come the next episode, I should have some background music. But after that, following episodes should be pretty thematic. I'm working on having Halloween be a pretty spooky one. Maybe I'll do some kind of spooky Halloween cake. Whatever that would be. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so mix together the eggs. Oh. Mix together the eggs or yolks and the cream. Whisk the egg cream mixture into the sugar cornstarch over medium heat. Okay. So first we're going to get our egg yolks here, separating the whites and the yolks. Getting off that awkward little okay, so there's one yolk. Yolk, yolk, yolk. Usually Sergeant Power Glove's in here telling yolks. Okay. We'll get our second egg yolk separated from the egg white there. And if you make a disaster of it, you can just kind of let the egg yolk into your hand and let the egg white fall between your fingers. You can scoop it out by hand. It's not a super fine art or anything. And this isn't a very sensitive recipe. If you get a tiny bit of egg white mixed in with the egg yolks, it's not going to mess up your curd because you get the option to use either one anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. This was 4 yolks, not 2. Okay, so let's get 2 more. So we're just going through, getting our yolks separated. I'll tell you what, I'll get one on the overhead cam so you can actually see what's going on. That'd be helpful. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and crack this egg right there on the table. Open up the shell. And kind of tilt to one side, tilt to the other, and do that a few times until you get the egg white in the bowl below. This is a little easier with room temperature eggs too. But there you go. Now you just got the yolk all on its own. Toss that into our 4 egg yolks. Okay. Now we're gonna do 2 cups of cream in with those 4 egg yolks. Set these egg whites off to the side. Get our measuring cup. Well, we know that this is 1 pint is 2 cups. We're going to go ahead and measure it just to be proper here. There's 1 cup. And there's 2 cups. Down to it. Okay. We will whisk that together. So I'm just going to use my rubber whisk at first here. And just get the cornstarch, flour, and everything mixed together before the heat is on. I like to keep my rubber spatula handy while this is going on too, because you see you get some stuff around the edges that you don't have good enough control with your rubber whisk. You can use your rubber spatula to get everything kind of scooped back towards the middle. Okay, so I'm going to use the wire whisk to combine our eggs and cream. Just want to get those just mixed in with each other. I'm going to give a slightly yellow hue to your mix here, but it's not going to be some huge transformation. Just going through, making sure it's all good and mixed up. Okay. 4 egg yolks, 2 cups of cream. We've got 12 minutes left on our cream puffs, so those should be ready in just a little bit. Okay, and let's get our rubber spatula ready just so we've got it handy when this all goes down. Oh, here it is. It was in the bowl from our stuff before. And you're going to rinse off the last bit of shoe pastry from it. Give that a quick dry. Okay. So, over medium heat, we're going to go ahead and pour our egg and cream mixture into this dry mix. We're going to whisk it constantly for about 10 minutes until it thickens. And then let's see, we want to lower the heat just a little bit. We'll add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, which I'll probably just eyeball once we get to that point. Let's see. So we got our vanilla extract that's going to go in. We use 2 teaspoons of that. Let's see, what the heck. Instead of eyeballing it, I'll just portion some out ahead of time here. Got our little shot glass we were using for the salt earlier. Okay. So here is, got 1 teaspoon there. And there's our 2nd teaspoon. Go ahead and cap that off for now. We can get rid of this empty one. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to put this off to the side, and we're going to kind of stir this at a medium-high heat. Let's see. Well, at a medium heat until it thickens. And then once it's thick, we're going to go ahead and add the vanilla extract. That should be all we need. So get this rubber spatula here. Get our cream egg mix going on in there. And then get it over medium heat. I'm just using the rubber spatula to kind of get some stuff off the bottom, but I'm going to get this whisked. Our rubber whisk. The bottom of this pan is just a little bit wet, so you can hear it kind of sizzling off there. And with the timing of everything, it looks like this custard will be done, at least done on the stovetop, by the time we pull out our cream puff shells. Hey, Dr. Damien. So I believe it's pronounced Gougeres. So the second G is kind of like a Y. And in true, now I'm not a native or even foreign French speaker, but I feel like a lot of French words kind of drop some of the last sounds at the very end. And here, let's get this over on this other heater for a better look. But yeah, you just kind of drop the last RES, and the second G is like a Y, so it's like Gougeres. Right now we're stirring. Thanks for testing that that sound clip there, Sergeant Power Glove. Like I said, I got a bunch of good clips and commands ready, but ready's the wrong word, because I found out just last night and this morning I was having a hard time in testing and couldn't get them to come through. But just wait, next week will be great. Okay, so probably going to stir this for about another 6-7 minutes here. I'm not quite able to break from the stovetop to get anything typed in there, but how just for conversation's sake, what kind of cakes or bakes or any kind of confectionaries would any of you like to see in future streams? I've got a lot of different things in mind. I like to try everything all the way to candy. Just stirring this over a medium heat right now. So be careful not to get anything. Don't want the eggs to curdle, scramble, etc. Look very closely at the whisk. Feel your eyelids getting heavy. I know mine are. I've only had 2 cups of coffee. Cloud bread. That sounds interesting. Are you talking like challah? Flourless bread made with eggs and cream cheese. That sounds delightful. Now I know that there is increased egg in challah, but I'm pretty sure it's got flour in it. So that's probably not the right thing. I'm probably mistaking that. But yeah, that sounds delicious. I'll look that up. I really like to try to keep things thematic too, you know, if I can help it. I'd love to do some themed bakes. This one just kind of, this came along because I've got a friend who's made some pickled beets, and she said that she would trade some for some Creampuffs, and I've never made Gougeres before. I was like, well, that's close enough, and I've been doing a kind of a paired baked good thing for the last few streams, so figured I'd do two different varieties. I like to try to keep these to about hour-long or so stream, hour and a half to 2 hour long streams, though I did end up doing a 5-hour one on accident, and that was an accident. That took way longer than I thought it was going to. Okay, so for the record, we are at about 6 minutes of stirring this, and it is getting pivotal, okay? I'm actually going to switch back to the wire whisk. because it's getting to the point where it's thickening up and it's looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and add our vanilla extract. That is smooth and looks delicious. You got bubbles just coming up on the side. And just like last time, this stuff comes together, you know, before you know it. It's thick, but not too thick. You can still run the whisk through it. You want to get it off that heat as soon as you know it's ready. Yeah, this looks good. Nice and smooth. Let's see here. So keep this going. Starting to separate just a little bit, and that's not what we want. Hoping we can save it here. Let's see here. We are okay, so for the sake of saving it, I'm going to go ahead and put it through a sieve, but it separated just a bit, but I think, see, it's still smooth. Very sensitive process once you add in that vanilla extract. I think that once we get this in the fridge, cooling down and everything, that it'll be good. But I'm going to put it through a sieve into a bowl to cool down, and hopefully that should get rid of any extra liquid from it separating just a little bit. Down because excuse me, in the background getting some dishes ready here. Slam. Okay. Okay, so right now I'm putting this through a sieve into a bowl, and our Gruyere timer, or our cream puff timer, is going off. So it's really getting pretty wild right now. As I said, we got a little bit of separation with our pastry cream. I think we're still good enough to use it. I think it'll be saved and good enough to pipe. And on the bright side, we are putting this with some whipped cream in a little while. That was a scary moment. Let's see here. Tell you what, this is getting pretty extreme with this creme patissier here. Let's get our cream puffs out, huh? Let's see what those look like. Oh, those look very nice. Cream puffs are out. So the cream puffs are good. So we had some issues with our custard, which we're gonna strain out. But one thing I'm gonna do, let's see, to get these cream puffs extra crispy, you can poke a tiny hole in each of them, and once they're done and you turn off the oven, you can pop them back in there for about 10 minutes. That should be enough time for me to get this cream up and going again. Can't believe it's separated. That's a real bummer. I think it can be saved, but it's hard to say. So the oven's turned off, but we're going to pop these cream puffs in there with little holes in them just to get the last bit of steam and moisture out. And what will we do? Let's see here. We're down to the wire. We're thinking on our toes today with this pastry cream, which is separated just a little bit. So I'm going to pour it through a sieve and hope that I can save some of it. Let's just see some of the fat from it, I guess, separates from the eggs. We've got a less than satisfactory chemical reaction going on here. So right now I'm just trying to get the thicker parts of this cream separated from a little bit of liquid in there. And hopefully it should cool out. Okay. I think this is about as good as we're going to get it. I'm going to put this cream in the fridge, get it to cool down, and then we'll add some of this to some whipped cream later, and it should turn out pretty good. So let's see. Okay, and I think while we've got our cream puff shells kind of drying out in there, we're going to take a quick break. Oh, hey Yesenia. But we're going to take a quick break, and I'll be back probably in about 5 minutes, 11:05. See you then. And we're back. Hello. Okay, so I'm trying to research and figure out what went wrong with our pastry cream, because it just didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. It was a little bit, it's separated, and that's no good. You know what? I figured out exactly what was wrong. Hello. I figured out what was wrong. It was the butter. Okay, so we're going to try again. I think we're gonna go ahead and just do it to it. Try again, get it done. Forgive that awful noise. Well, thank you, Dr. Damien. Glad to have you and all the other viewers here this morning. So I goofed on the custard. Custard's goofed. Oopsie daisy. Our custard separated into a less than satisfying brain-like texture just in time for Halloween. So we're actually going to retry that. And that does not please me to have to do that. But at the same time, I think it's the best thing if we want these Creampuffs to turn out all right. Now we do have the Creampuffs here on the cam. These turned out looking great. We're going to cut the tops off of those and fill them with the proper pastry cream, creme patissier. Okay. But look at that wonderful group of buddies. Now that is 2 dozen of beautiful looking cream puffs. And I just would not feel right to not give them the proper, whoopsie davy, the proper amount of quality in the cream that goes with them. So we're redoing this pastry cream. We've got our sugar, cornstarch, salt, roll call, 2 eggs, and actually we're going to do, let's see, 2 cups of cream, half and half, or whole milk. Okay, so because of semi-limited resources, see, I'm using the rest of this. So I'm using the rest of our heavy whipping cream to make the whipped cream that's going to lighten up this pastry cream later. So I'm going to use some 2% and a little bit of half and half to get it a little thicker. We're thinking on our feet now, okay? Let's see. Try and figure. And what we should have done all along was we had our sugar, cornstarch, and salt mixed in. We mixed our eggs and cream. What we should have done before we put the vanilla extract in was we should have stirred in the 2 tablespoons of butter. So, we're gonna get it right. All right, let's see, we've got our, I'm gonna move these delightful looking things over. Got our saucepan. I was just thinking, reflecting on how much I felt like on the live baking show. Give me 1 second here. But, yeah, my fiance Mandy was telling me that this was a lot like the Great British Bake Off moments, you know, where the thing separates live and they gotta throw it in the bin, you know. So this is, forgive that terrible accent. So this is exactly like that. I had to throw it in the bin, which feels bad. It feels real bad, but okay. We're starting over. We're doing the thing right. We've got 2/3 a cup of sugar. We've got a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Let's see. Where is our, let's see, 1/4 cup cornstarch. Okay. We've got a pinch of salt. Salt. Pinch. Right there in the palm of my hand. Ta-da! Okay, sugar's all emptied out. We're gonna mix these up with our whisk. Get a quick rinse off here. All right. So we've got our salt, cornstarch, and sugar all getting mixed together here. We're gonna mix 2 eggs, 1, 2, with 2 cups of, now this asks for heavy cream, half and half, whole milk. You're basically just looking for a pretty full-bodied milk product, right? Like, the thicker you can get, the better. I'm working a little bit carefully here because of a little bit of a goof before. Now I'm a little bit short on heavy cream, but I don't anticipate it'll be that much of an issue. So we're going to use what we have with this half and half here. I believe it's 2 cups it calls for. Yeah. Okay, so there's 1 cup there. Use a little bit of this cream. A little bit of this milk. There's our 2nd cup there. Okay, pop this back in the fridge. And we use our wire whisk to whisk together the eggs and the cream and milk we have here. Now I planned ahead for the vanilla extract, but I did not plan ahead for the butter. So we're gonna get that right this time. Okay. Eggs and cream come together. 2 tablespoons of butter here. See. That is officially prepared. We can get our little shot glass here. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. 1, 2. Okay, feeling better about this one. This one's gonna work. Live action. Alright. So, add our cream and our eggs to the flour, cornstarch, sugar mixture over medium heat, stirring all the while. And we're going to give this a good stir just until it gets thickened. I'm going to turn up the heat just slightly so we can get this done in just a little bit faster time. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to use that wire whisk any more than I have to because it's kind of harsh on the pan. You know what they say, sometimes you gotta whisk it all. High whisk, high reward. High whisk, high reward. There you go. So, we're gonna review our instructions here and be sure we're pretty good. So we're stirring about 10 minutes. It'll just begin to boil as it thickens. So then we'll stir in the butter and vanilla once this gets to a boil and really thickens. And after that, we will add the butter and the vanilla extract, and we'll pour through a sieve into a bowl. It should be all good after that. Whisk it for the biscuit. I feel like Eminem every time I talk about taking risks. I'm nothing like Eminem. He had one shot, you know. I hear they tell the whole story in 8 Mile. I've never seen it. That's gotta be a good movie though, isn't it? Alright, Mayor Sheriff. Happy travels, man. I will see you soon. Mayor Sheriff is hitting the open road. Everybody wish him a happy trip. Happy travels to you, sir. You are the mayor and the sheriff of this land. Stirring, stirring, and we're stirring, and we're stirring. Now I'm hoping this doesn't end up too thin because we weren't able to use super thick cream. I think it'll probably be fine. So we used just a little bit of cream and a little bit of half and half with our 2% milk just to keep it going. That's kind of the best we could do given the circumstances. Boy, that was a rush, huh? I know it was for me. Sitting here on live TV. And my curd got separated. The way things work out. Dr. Damien coming in hot with the puns. Let's see. You whisk it all. I've been trying to think. So they call this shoe. They call the puffs shoe pastry. I'm surprised I haven't heard any shoe jokes. It's CHOUX, but I'm sure there's got to be something good in there, right? Got to be something I'm missing. Oh no! Butter should not be sitting over here. It's too warm. It's sitting over here. I don't know if anybody got a chance to see. I had a new intro on today. That was good and exciting. Or not a new intro. I'm sorry. I have a new starting soon, and I'm going to work on a new "Be Right Back" screen as well. Okay, we're getting ready. Kind of getting some gentle bubbles there. Oh yeah, yeah. That's thickening up just nice. Perfectamundo. We're switching to the wire whisk. We're going to get our butter going in there. The butter's in. Off the heat. Got a little bit of smoke. I think I got a small piece of something on the bottom of this pan. Okay. The butter's in. The vanilla extract is in, and it's a smooth, delightful looking custard. Now look at that. That's exactly what I was looking for. Look at that custard. That's a dream come true. I gotta show you on the front cam here. You ready? Look at that. Now that's the kind of stuff you want to see. Beautiful. Feeling good. it really was worth a second try. All right. We're back on track. The sweat has stopped trickling down my forehead. The fear of not having a good custard is no longer pressing over me. We're going to get this through the sieve, into the bowl, and we will indeed crack on just as they do on the Great British Bake Off. Okay. Custard going through the sieve, into the bowl. Look at that delicious, smooth, velvety, nice vanilla flavored, wonderful custard. Now I'm a happy guy. Be sure my blood pressure has dropped. That moment where it was separating, I was like, no, what's gone wrong? Oh, but this is smooth. Looks like a nice vanilla pudding. Wow. You know, if this were in the Duder chat, I'd have somebody do the wow command. Wow. If any of you have ever seen that video of Owen Wilson saying wow in like 40 different movies, it's probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. I just will be walking anywhere in my house going, wow. Wow. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So, get the sieve out of the way. We're going to rinse this thing off. We're going to feel real good about this custard. All right. Custard's going to go in the fridge. We're going to cool it down for a little bit. Now we're feeling good, everybody. I wasn't sure we could do it, but you all stuck through it with me, and I truly appreciate it. So this one's to you all. Gotta crack a little bit more coffee here. All right. Wow. What did I told you, this is the most exciting cooking show on at 10 a.m. Central Time on Sundays with someone with the first name Dave on Twitch. Most exciting. 10 out of 10. Would bake again. Okay. So we've got our cream sauce. We've got our cream puffs. I think we're going to go ahead and get ready. We're going to make some Gruyères. Okay, so I'm going to place these Gruyères. Oh. I gotta say, I really am very delighted with the way these turned out. They're light, a little bit brown on the bottom. That's good, fully cooked. You know, we're gonna cut these tops off and put a little cream pastry in there, or pastry cream, I'm sorry, and it's gonna be super duper good. So I'm just getting these all put onto a different tray for now. I'm going to have the recipe for the Gruyères, and while the Gruyères are baking, we're gonna make some whipped goat cheese butter with chives. So we're gonna have our little sweet and savory thing going on here. A shameless plug, if you haven't checked out, I got an Instagram where I'm going to be, posting all the final products and everything like that. So I'd love to see you check out what we got going on there. I'm going to have little stories and this and that saying when the stream's going on and all that fun stuff. But here is the delightfully golden brown group of cream puff buddies there. How do you like that? Okay, so do a quick rinse wash for a couple of these dishes here. Think if there's any kind of particularly scary cake. Like maybe you can make like a chocolate torte and dress it up like Dracula or something, you know? What kind of fun stuff could we get into? Who knows? Who knows? Alright. Rinsing some bowls out. It's also exciting for me too because every Sunday morning y'all get to see me get really hyped up on coffee. Do something that I very much enjoy to do, which is the baking. So it's nice to give yourself an excuse, break out a little bit of time to do something for you. I work and go to school and try to perfect other things that I'm maybe not great at yet. So you know, it's nice to have some time to do something just kind of fun, and this is that for me for sure. I don't know if anybody watched, I think Mayor Sheriff had a birthday stream the other night. That was really entertaining. I joined in that for a little bit. The, I believe Sleepy Time Beer of First Person Gougeres was doing, he's going for the 100% on Diddy Kong Country, so that's a lot of fun too. If you haven't watched any of that, something fun for you to look into. Right now I'm just rinsing out the pastry bag real quick. This dough is practically the same thing for the Gougeres or for the Creampuffs, just like a slight difference. So I'm not going to do a full-on bag change there. I'm just going to rinse out the leftover cream puff dough and switch over. A real Renaissance man. That's such a flattering thing to hear. Like I told Nandy about that the other day when I think you said that when I mentioned something about my painting. You got to see this, by the way. So this is a watercolor inspired by this baking stream here, but here's a. It's funny when I put it on the overhead cam because I based this off of a picture of the overhead cam, but you know, let's see here. There you go. I'll definitely have this on my fridge before long. Okay, you got some, you know, you got the beater there. You got some butter. You got the eggs with their, you know, with their shadows and all that fun stuff. But yeah, that's what I was working on the other day, actually. And it's funny that it got mentioned on a stream, and it's also just, it was about a stream. But these things all get, you know, you get entrenched in this stuff. Okay, so it's Gruyere time, baby. Stick of butter, plus extra for greasing. We need half a cup of milk, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of dry mustard, optional. That sounds good. Dry mustard, where are you? Where are you, dry mustard? Yeah, thanks, Dr. Damien. You know, I'm almost ready to get some stuff going on that, I'm almost ready to get some stuff going in the garage there too, but not quite yet. We're looking for dry mustard right now. I know we've got some. There we go. Dry mustard. Ground mustard. Okay, so we need salt, butter, milk, ground mustard, flour, eggs. We're gonna do half this recipe. I don't want to do. Oh, this is 4 dozen. Might even do a quarter of this recipe. Preheat that oven at 400 degrees. Let's see, combine butter, milk, half cup of water, salt, and dry mustard, all in a saucepan. So this is going to follow the same. This will follow the same process as the cream puffs, except this is a savory dough. So we're gonna do everything the same. It's gonna be combine everything in a pan, and then dump the flour in at the very end. Once you've got everything up to a boil, stir until it pulls away from the sides. So this will look very familiar, okay? I'm gonna need, let's see, does the cheese go in during? High heat, bring to a boil, flour. Let's see, pull away from the sides. Okay, so you stir in some cheese at the end of this too. We're gonna go ahead and work with what we have. We've got some Parmesan here. This was a surprise I didn't notice. I'm gonna grate, let's see, so we're doing a quarter of this recipe because I don't want to do 4 dozen. I'm just gonna do 1 dozen of these. So we're gonna need 1 egg. We're gonna need a little bit of milk. We're gonna grate just about, let's see, whatever a quarter of 1 1/2 is. That's right. Yeah, 1 1/2 divided by 4 would be what? A quarter plus an eighth. So that's 3/8. So 3/8 of a cup. Grating, and we're grating. 3/8 of a cup. So that's like 0.625. No, that's, I think 0.625 is 5/8. Let's look at it this way. 3/8 is just about an eighth over a quarter. So we're going to take our half cup here. We're going to put the cheese in there. Somewhere in between a quarter and a half cup. There's your 3/8. Okay. So there's our Parmesan cheese there. All right. Let's get to it, huh? Quarter stick of butter. Probably a quarter cup of water as well, I'm guessing, since that's what we did. Oh, this uses half, so we'll do an 1/8 cup of water. Okay. Quarter stick of butter is 2 tablespoons. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of butter. Going to be 1/2 divided by 4 is 1/8 cup of water. Just a little bit of water. We're going to do an 1/8 cup of milk. Butter, milk, water, salt, and dry mustard. Okay, so we're gonna do, this calls for a pinch of salt when we're doing a quarter of it. A tiny bit there. Three-eighths is 1/2 more than 1/4. In a way, yes. That sounds exactly right. Even though it seems completely confusing. It seems like I've explained it in a strange way. Okay, we need a quarter cup of flour, which we will dump in once we got our mixture going here. And don't worry, I will go through this categorically here. I'm going to give the full list of ingredients in row instead of this staggered announcement shortly here. Okay, so 1/4 cup of flour we're going to set to the side for now. The egg will wait until it's all mixed up. Dry mustard we will do, so equal parts dry mustard and salt. So we did about a pinch of salt, so we're going to do a little pinch of dry mustard. Do a little more for a little bit more flavor. Okay, and I believe we're all good. Okay, so we're going to get this on high heat, get a boil going, then dump this flour in all at once. We're going to get the right flame on. Flame on. Okay. So, right now we have a 1/4 stick of butter, an 1/8 cup of milk, an 1/8 cup of water, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, no, I'm sorry, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 1/8 teaspoon of dry mustard. 1/4 cup of flour is going to go in, and then we will mix in 1 egg once that's done, and a little bit of grated cheese. Okay, so on the overhead, we're waiting for this to start boiling. Over a high heat here. Not a lot of liquid in here, so this will probably get going pretty quick. I found a bunch of really cool unlicensed Kmart department store Christmas music that I'm going to be using around the holidays probably. I don't think I'm just going to do Christmas bakes though. I think I'm going to try a few different things. Seasonal bakes. Okay. So this is just about to a boil. Got our wooden spoon ready. And as soon as this goes to a boil as it is, we will add our flour in all at once and stir, stir, stir until this pulls away from the sides of the pan. Switch it over to a low heat. Okay, just like our other pastry, this makes a little ball that just kind of floats around the saucepan. Take it off the heat for now. Now you can notice this smells nice and savory where the other one smelled sweet. But the dough looks pretty much identical. Okay. And there is our Gruyere base that we will soon add an egg to and pipe as well. So let's get our paddle bit into the mixer here. Put away a little bit of this stuff that's getting in the way. Put the cheese back. We're going to get our parchment paper ready while we've got a moment. One. Second sheet ready. And I cut this to shape really quick here. got our parchment paper ready. Set this aside. And don't forget, we're going to make a little bit of butter in a moment here. That's going to be, instead of making custard, we're going to make our goat cheese and chive butter, so that's exciting. Let's put our butter and vanilla extract away. We don't need that. Okay, let's get the egg mixed into this Gruyere. Oh yeah. It's gonna be really good, I believe. Okay. So, we're gonna mix one egg vigorously into this Gruyere dough. As I said before, I like to crack the egg into a separate container in case there's any shells or any unforeseen things going on with it. Get a good mix going, pop our egg in there, and once it's nice and smooth, we're going to stop the blend, stop the mixer. With a smaller amount of dough for this too, so the texture might be a smidgen different, but it's still pretty similar. It's thick enough that it'll hold its shape and that you can pipe it, but it's not so thick that you can't pipe it, not so thin that it's just gonna fall right out of the piping bag. So I've got our oven preset at 400 degrees. This too will go for 25 minutes. We're going to stir some cheese into it right now. Got our 3/8 cup of Parmesan cheese. Okay, so you can see that all right. We're just going to mix that cheese in there. This is going to be super duper good. Okay, now, back into our piping cup here. Here's the cup. Here's our piping bag. And actually, we're not going to need two sheets like we did for the 2 dozen cream puffs. That was a bit excessive on my side. Okay. So, I'm going to pipe these over on the overhead camera. To the piping cam. Okay. And just like the cream puffs, we're going to go ahead and do these just in about an inch round. About 2 inches away from each other. These are a little bit less beautifully smooth. You got little pieces of cheese in there, right? But it's all going to melt into a very delicious, wonderful mixture. I cannot wait to try. Got a little bit of ground mustard in there. I could see this, you know, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of, dill in that goat cheese butter, because now that I'm thinking about it, I think this this kind of mustardy, cheesy base is going to go good with some chive, some dill, and some goat cheese. It's going to be zingy, really tasty. So we're going to get a smidgen of water just to dab off the tips on the top of these here. Round them out a little bit. These are gonna be so good. Okay, so we're gonna pop these in the oven for 25 minutes. Set our timer for 25 minutes. Okay. And I'm gonna rinse out our bowl really quick here. Bowl is rinsed out. Now we're getting ready for a pretty exciting adventure. We're going to make our own butter. Our own butter, and inadvertently we will make our own buttercream. So that's a pretty exciting process. Let's see if we can get it right. Let's see. Got our sieve ready. Got a little bowl here. So you're going to want to prepare a sieve over a bowl with either some paper towels or some cheesecloth. I don't have paper towels don't have cheesecloth right now. It's definitely something I'd like to invest in the future. You know, we got paper towels to make our own Lysol type wipes amid all the COVID stuff, but yeah, I think cheesecloth is definitely a more sustainable solution and something I'd like to do in the future. Okay, so we've got our paper towels there over the sieve. We're going to use our whisking attachment here on our stand mixer. And we're really going into unknown territory. I've never done this before, but I'm positive we can make butter in 25 minutes or less. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna get a knife. I'm gonna chop up our green onions. And I will get our dill out before long. Let's see, set this cookbook off to the side. And the flour, which we don't need anymore. Scoot this up just a little bit, get some better visibility here on our chopping table. Hello, puppy. We again have our Pitbull co-star hanging out at the bottom of the camera here. Okay. Sure you all can see that okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just chop these green onions pretty thinly. Okay, there we go. So we've got probably about just under a half cup or around a half cup of chopped chives. Oh yeah. Thanks, Dan Doesn't Stream. Yeah, you should see me when I get going with this knife here. ASMR chop. You know, okay, so I've seen some ASMR baking streams that exist. Just looking around for, looking around for baking streams. I've seen some that were like ASMR baking, and it's like people tapping the cake box before they put the mix in the thing, and it's really disturbing to watch. I don't know, I understand being comforted by the sounds of baking, but this is crossing into a strange territory. Yeah, nope, big nope. That is a just ultimate bigly no. I remember I saw it and I was like, well, how would they do that? And then I opened it up and I was like, no, I don't like that. Okay, so enough, fireside scary tales about ASMR baking. This is an enjoyable. I'm the kind that gets creeped out by it, I guess. Especially, I don't know. Not a fun thing for me. Okay, so we've got our room temperature cream. Okay. Yeah, Yesenia, I'm with you. I'm sitting there like, no, don't like it. Not good. Okay, so to the best of my understanding, and I'm going to review this one more time. That's funny. Dr. Damien, that's goofy. Okay. So we're going to double check one more time before we go plunging into this butter making adventure. I think it's pretty straightforward. 4 cups of cream, pour it into a bowl, whip it, medium high, till it forms stiff peaks. Keep whipping. Gets a little grainy, starts to separate. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is a nice, I'm excited to do this. And this is such a fancy, fun thing. I think you could try at home and do for a party. Like, I made my own butter, and what a cool thing. Okay. Ugh. And we always keep this dried dill on hand. It's really good for like making tzatziki and stuff like that. So it just lasts longer. I don't really use fresh dill that often. So it tastes a little better, I'm sure, probably nominally. We're gonna use our splash cover here because it's gonna get pretty crazy. We're locked. The cream's going in. This has been sitting at room temperature. If this becomes too loud or is unpleasant, please let me know in the chat and I will turn it off. I will adjust the mic as needed. Get some splatter going on here. Won't be long. Yeah, right, we're in the wind tunnel. I feel like a weather forecaster in this moment. Well, I'm standing over the stage mixer. We're starting to see some peaks. It's worth noting that right now there is a pit bull that is just loving every tiny speck of cream that lands. There's a hurricane coming. Okay, we got soft peaks. Let's go to stiff. Come on. Come on. All right, we're at the grainy part. We're getting there. I can't believe it. We're pretty much there. This is nuts. This is really cool. Okay. So we're gonna tilt it up right now. Just a nice chemical reaction. You've got buttermilk and little bits of butter that have formed in the pan. This is so cool. Okay. I mean, it made a little bit of a mess, but not terrible for the pretty neat result. We're gonna pour this in, and what you want to do is let the buttermilk go through the sieve and into the bowl, so that when it comes time to pour your actual butter, you have a little bit of an easier time on that. So you're kind of going to want to squeeze this out. This is so cool though. Look at this. That's the butter that we made. Okay, so a little bit of buttermilk there in our paper towel. So we're going to go ahead and dump the rest of the butter in. bit. No doubt this is easier to do with cheesecloth than a paper towel. We're just squeezing out any moisture in this thing. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to get one more layer of paper towels ready, so we can get the last bit of moisture out of that butter. Okay. This is blowing my mind, y'all. This is crazy. I never, ever, ever thought I would make my own butter. So we're just giving it one more squeeze. Get out any bit of that moisture that we can. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put it in one of these little fancy containers. Certainly feels appropriate. Homemade butter, who knew? Oh, and actually, we're going to put it into a bowl because we still have to mix a couple things in here. So, no fancy container yet, right? This is our ball of butter. Beautiful. Okay. So, let me get our whisk bit into the sink there. We're going to put our cream cover into the sink. We're going to take some of this goat cheese. So I got 8 ounces of goat cheese. And I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I think we should go ahead and whisk our butter and goat cheese together so they can be nice and incorporated. And then we're going to pop the butter in the fridge. Okay, so it looks like we're probably going to be at about a 2.5 hour stream total today. We're about 2 hours 7 minutes now. Thank you everybody for coming in, joining in, and seeing this adventure. Got just a little bit of time left. I'm going to take our homemade butter and we're going to take our log of goat cheese and we're going to use the paddle bit for this because I think that seems a little bit more appropriate. We're not going to try to completely whip everything again. We just want to get this stuff mixed together. I'm going to toss some salt in the mix. I'm going to do about a 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon there of salt. I'm going to mix our cheese and butter. Go ahead and stir this down just a little bit one more time. A little bit more of a mix. Okay. Now this too will go into a piping bag. I do have some disposable piping bags. Sometimes, possibly like this time, they're a little bit easier to use. get this thing out of here. Almost. Okay. So we're going to get our little cup that we were using earlier. I can get a good tip here for the butter. So for presentation's sake, I'm going to use a tip with a little bit of ridges on it. This one looks good, right? Let's see here. See, that's just got a little bit of ridges on there. I think that's going to be very nice. So cut off the tip of this bag. Double check that our piping tip fits in there nicely. Just about it. We're going to take a little bit more off. Looks like our Gruyères have about 8.5 minutes left. So the shells for the Gruyères are almost done. Or Gougeres, I'm sorry. We're just at about noon, so we've been going for about 2 hours now. All right. Get this extra butter, our delicious goat cheese butter off of here, and we're going to stir in a little bit of dill and our green onions, which for all, for the sake of simplicity, we'll call these green onions chives probably a few times. I don't think there's a huge difference. Well, thank you very much. I'll see you later, Sergeant Power Glove. Have a good one. I appreciate you joining us. Let's see here. Green onion in. A little bit of dill in. Okay, we're just going to mix all this up. Piping bag here. Now this I'm going to let cool just a little bit in the fridge. I don't want it to be completely cool because I want it to still be able to pipe, but I think it'll be okay if it cools just until these Gruyères are done. And we're going to get out our pastry cream and get that into a piping bag as well. Now for time's sake, I'm going to fill probably 10 each, and then we'll call it a day. There's our mix. That's going to be nice. Okay, we're going to pop this in the fridge. Get this in our, get both of, yeah, let's get both of these in our sink. Okay, we're going to get our lovely buttermilk into a airtight container, and that airtight container. Now this buttermilk you can use for biscuits or any other number of baking items. So I'm going to try to get nicely into this jar. This kind of makes me feel like it's like the Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda milk jars. That's pretty much what we're doing just in real life. Though for some reason that was alcoholic and I didn't understand that. Okay, get rid of this goat cheese wrapper. Gotta get a few more things in the sink and prepare for these Gruyères to come out. I'm very excited for them. later. So we can use this area while we're piping. Okay, so we're going to get another reusable bag. Well, these things are Mondo. Okay. Got our reusable bag here. I think I've got a... Yes, that's right. Got a couple accessories for this piping bag I needed to take out of the sink and wash quickly. Get these things ready. We need to use the tips that we used for our Gougeres and puff pastry pouring. Actually, I think I'm going to hand Mayor Sheriff some of these in a little bit. He's coming by for just a second as he goes to see his, I think he's going to see his fam. We happen to live kind of close-ish to his fam. I'm somewhere along the way. But, yeah, so make sure that this works. Okay. I think I'm going to take just a smidge off of this piping bag, not too much. Okay. We're getting ready to put our pastry cream in this piping bag. Let's see. What will the effect be here? I am going to get my dog some water real quick. She's probably thirsty because she's been going around eating little specks of baked goods, probably dehydrated before pit bull. Okay. So we're getting our... Let's see, I think we should use kind of a fancy tip for this pastry cream as well. Alright, so we're going to use a T05, okay? So that's what the T05 looks like close up. It's going to have a nice shape to it. Go ahead and tighten that. I love these reusable bags. They are awesome. Okay. I'm going to take out the pastry cream, see if we can get that in there. Okay, we've got our nice, smooth, beautiful pastry cream. I think this will pipe better than it did when I made the eclairs. And honestly, I think this complements the Creampuffs just a little bit better than the Creme Diplomat will. We ran a little short on supplies too, so we're going to go ahead and improvise just a little bit. We're just going to do the pastry cream today. Okay. go. And we're gonna put the rest of this to the side for now. There's the timer for our Gougeres. Let's see how they turned out. All right. Oh yeah. Here's Gougeres. We've got our nice cheesy companions. Here's what they look like there. A little bit hot. Golden brown on the bottom. Golden on the top. And similar to the other ones, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the oven. Give a quick poke to these. Let any remaining steam out. I'm going to pop them back in there as they cool. The oven is turned off. We've got 9 Gougeres, what I call a Davy dozen. So we've got a Davy dozen of Gougeres. Really fancy way to say the number 9. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take a little knife here. We're going to cut off the tops of these. Let's see. Oh yeah, so there's nice and open on the inside. Enough room to, let's see how it's nice and open on the inside. Get enough room to fill that with some pastry cream. So I'm gonna set up probably the first 12 or so on this tray. We're gonna fill those, and then, you know, actually those Gougeres are pretty good, so I'm going to take those out and let those just chill on their own. Oh, excuse the noise there. Sorry, everybody. So I'm going to get a cooling tray here. And we're going to let these Gougeres cool off on the cooling rack. Just so that by the time I'm done filling about 12 of these Creampuffs, I will be able to go fill a few of those Gougeres. Again, I think, you know, the pumpkin idea was cute and ambitious, but I don't think I was actually going to get it. Oh yeah, sorry to make you hungry, Dr. Damien. Yeah, I think the pumpkin idea was ambitious, but I really don't think in application it would have worked as well as I was thinking. So decided against that. Just no big deal. I'll probably change the title because I don't want to be misleading. People think there's Gougere pumpkins. Maybe I'll plan a little bit more carefully for, let's do 16 of these. I'll plan a little bit more carefully for the next cast, which I think next Sunday we're going to do a Halloween theme. And hopefully I can get some sound effects ready by then. And you all can add spooky sound effects to everything. And Dr. Damien, I don't know if you have any free time later, but yeah, I will. Dr. Damien, I'll probably hit you up on the Discord and ask you some questions about these sound effects, because, like I said, I'm kind of a newbie to this, some of this stuff, and some of it I just don't. Some of these commands are just kind of difficult to get set up. Okay. So here we go. You'll probably see this a little more clearly as I move up the board. But I'm just going to fill these with some pastry cream. And then I'm going to close the cap on them. Filling them up closing the cap. Filling them up, closing the cap. This does seem like just the right amount of pastry cream. Some of them you want them to be just a little bit ajar so that they've got kind of that nice presentation to them. Let's see, I've got enough room to fill in the rest of this pastry cream. Oh, okay. Right on. You know, I've actually never played Minecraft. My nephew similarly wanted to play some. So my nephew had been playing Breath of the Wild after I had played it. And it was so cute. Kind of funny. He'd call me. You know, he's getting the age now to where he's kind of like, he's still young, but he's also a little bit like too cool for school. So he'll call me and I pick up and he'll just be like, "Sup?" You know? He's a little man now. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you up close. Here, let's take this first one. So we've got our cream puff, filling it up there. We've cover the top. You got that nice looking presentation when you're done. Okay. You know, in hindsight, a little bit of whipped cream probably would have helped me increase the amount of pastry cream I had here, because I'm running low. It's okay, you can actually set these in the fridge too for a few days. They should hold up all right. But yeah, so here is our tray of, there you've got a tray of cream puffs. Done and done. And you could top these with a little bit of chocolate if you wanted to. I'm gonna leave them as is because I think they're delicious like that. I'm gonna set these in the fridge for now. Just set them off to the side. And pull the Gougeres over here. And we're gonna do the same thing with these Gougeres. We're gonna cut off, as soon as we can find that knife. Oh, there we go. We're gonna cut off the top of the Gougeres. We're gonna fill them with that dill goat cheese chive filling. Okay, so we're just going along, cutting about 1/3 from the top, so it kind of flips open. Now we have just a little bit extra of that butter because I think it's going to go great with like toast in the morning. Might try to make some kind of savory scones that we could have it on. Okay. Now these have a little bit more texture to the inside of them than the shoe puffs did, but I still think they're going to have that nice little, you know, cap on top of the rest. Oh yeah, wow, that's nuts. Getting into the command blocks and everything. Okay, so here is our nice zesty spicy mix. Let's see if we can get it out here. Okay, green onions are causing a little bit of an issue getting through the piping, getting through the tip here. Yeah, let's see. Giving us a little bit of trouble here. So the tip I chose is getting a little bit clogged up by the green onions, so in hindsight, I think we probably would do these with much finer pieces or something. There we go. There we go. That's what we were looking for. All right. Let's get a little bit more on here. So we're putting the tops back on these now. So we made our own butter, made our own pastry cream, made some Gougeres, made some cream puffs, and enough with the pumpkins, right? It's not yet time. You hate when the grocery stores start the Halloween stuff too soon. Well, I won't start the Halloween streams just yet. Okay, so I'll show you. This is what the Gougeres ended up looking like. I'm very proud of those. Let's see here. Show the cam. All right, so there's our Gougeres, kind of the savory version of our cream puffs. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna call it on doing that piping for the pumpkin stuff, because I think we're gonna focus on getting some good decorations going next week. We're at about 2.5 hours now. I don't want to push it much longer, but yeah, as always, thank you everybody for joining today. We did choux pastry, we made Gougeres, we made some curdled, separated pastry cream that we went back and fixed and made a new one. And we made some nice homemade butter with some dill and chives in there. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Yesenia, Dr. Damien, Sergeant Power Glove, Mayor Sheriff, the whole gang, everybody for coming by. It was a great time. I appreciate you joining me. Next week we're going to do some kind of spooky fun stuff, and I'll have my sound commands working. So yeah, thank you everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, Dan Doesn't Stream.